Yeah, chiropractic for me and my family was kind of a foreign concept when I was 13 years of age. Like most folks, we did the medical thing, and I was one of those kids who was always sick. Ear infections was my deal. And as a matter of fact, I've had 7 sets of tubes jammed in my ears. And my guess is between age 1 or 2 and 13, I may have had a year and a half entirely where I wasn't taking an antibiotic. They changed the shape of my ears so that bugs wouldn't get in there and cause infection. Suffice it to say, it wasn't working. And then my dad heard about chiropractic, and our entire family went to the chiropractor just a couple days later. And that's when my life changed. What I saw after that was a dissipation of the ear infections. I never had another ear infection. The speech that, because of the hearing losses that I was incurring, not losses really, but I couldn't hear that well. It was like I was underwater all the time. Caused speech difficulties. I would slur my S's. That went away. And I had a life back. I could actually go swim in the bay. I could actually play baseball and go outside without a headband on, no matter what time of the day or night or year it was. And so it changed my life. And at age 13 or 14, it's when I decided that, this makes sense and people need to hear this story about chiropractic. And I decided that that's what my life's purpose was. At that point, I decided that if I was going to do this chiropractic thing, I would check and see what other people thought about it. Well, I could tell right away that the idea of chiropractic was not only foreign to a lot of people, but there was some animosity and mostly a misunderstanding about what chiropractic is and what it does. Through high school, I took it upon myself to be a spokesperson for chiropractic, even though the fact is I really didn't know that much about it. I knew the concept, I knew the principle, and I knew it worked. And I understood early on that there was a different belief system that people held on to, even though it wasn't working that well. And so off to college I went and studied chiropractic, and it's been an incredible journey, and it's the lives that have been touched and saved. I mean, I tell folks, if I'll run into somebody at the airport or at the store or something, and they ask me, what do you do? I say, I saved lives through the power of the chiropractic adjustment. And sometimes Dr. Julie and I look back and we think about all the people and the lives that have been changed. And I'm not talking about taking somebody off a death's bed. I'm talking about lives that, had they not taken a different direction in where they're going right now, would have had they'd be in a very different place than they are right now. And that's not because of us, and it's because of the principle of chiropractic, the principle that our body is a self-healing, self-regulating organism designed to heal. Our job is just to remove interferences from it. Yeah, chiropractic started, traditional chiropractic as we know it today, started in 1895 in Davenport, Iowa, by a fish peddler named D.D. Palmer. He was a self-taught anatomist, and at that time he was what they would call a magnetic healer. He had a keen interest in the human body and how it worked. And even back then, there was discord and dissatisfaction with the healthcare system that was being delivered. The idea that people would just be put on drugs for a lifetime, even back in 1895, was somewhat repulsive. So there was a tremendous amount of dissatisfaction with the current system of healthcare that was out there. And D.D. Palmer recognized the relationship between the nerve system and the rest of the body. And in doing so, developed his own theory, the theory of chiropractic and subluxation, that the nerve system controls and regulates the body. Interference of the system is going to cause the body to go into a state of disorder, of disease. So he found a fellow that worked in his building, a guy by the name of Harvey Lillard. And Harvey was deaf. Harvey consented to Dr. Palmer, yeah, maybe you can help me. Dr. Palmer had found out in doing a history with Harvey Lillard that Harvey had gone deaf about 11 years prior from the stories that we hear anyway. And it happened over a course of time, over about a 1-year period of time, after he was hit by a bale of hay, actually. Anyway, D.D. Palmer looked at him, analyzed him, felt his spine, and he felt the distortion in the upper part of his neck, the upper part of his mid-back. And the story, as he writes it, is that he racked the bone back into place. What he really did, we don't know. But in this instant miracle, Harvey Lillard could hear instantly. He could hear the horses down on the street on Brady Street in Davenport, Iowa. The unique part of this story is D.D. Palmer, it didn't take very long for word to get around that D.D. Palmer had the cure for deafness. So deaf people from around the world came to Davenport, Iowa. And I think D.D. Palmer knew he really wasn't sure exactly what happened, but he knew enough about what was happening that it made sense that this nerve system could be connected to the hearing mechanisms, and yeah, he could restore his hearing. Thousands of deaf people came to Davenport, Iowa, but not all of them got their hearing restored. Some had their arthritis issues gone away. Some had their asthma disappear, and gout, and you name it, the list goes on. All the things that we take care of on a regular basis in our office. Well, then it became chiropractic was the cure for everything. And as time went on, D.D. Palmer became more and more clear with his vision about what chiropractic was about and mapped out the nerve system so we know what organs go where or what nerves go to what organs. But it all started with that simple adjustment in 1895 when Harvey Lillard's hearing was restored. The biggest difference is the inherent understanding that our body is a self-healing, self-regulating organism. Our body was designed to heal itself, and the control and coordination of that entire system happens through our brain and our spinal cord. Our nerve system is the link between what we're supposed to do and what we do. It's the software that runs the program. It's the software that runs our body. And interference of that software interferes with our body's ability to adapt and cope with all the stressors that we have in our environment. And if we don't cope or we don't adapt properly, well, that's called disease. That's called allergies. That's called asthma. That's called high blood pressure. These are the body's ways of adapting to the best of their ability, but it does at an expense. So what's very different about chiropractic is our understanding that the body is designed to be well, and that if it's not, there's something internally wrong with the way it's functioning. As opposed to medicine that recognizes when something's not functioning normally, well, let's make it feel better. All right. It's not really about function, it's more about feel. And, you know, that's really diametrically opposed to what we do in a wellness-oriented practice. Our focus is on creating optimum function. Our desire is to get your body to heal well, not just to feel well. But we know that when you heal well, the effect is you'll feel well. And the good thing is not only will you feel well, you're going to function well. And that's true health.